Great. Thank you for joining us. We've got about 75 media here on the call. We'll kick things off. This is linebacker Nolan Smith, University of Georgia. Our first question today will come from Chip Towers. Chip?
Hi, Nolan. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm great. The obvious question from the last time you played Alabama was 0 sacks. It appeared from my review in the game that you guys, it's not from a lack of trying. You guys were doing some stuff trying to get to the quarterback. What has to happen different to generate pressure on the quarterback, and how important is generating pressure on the quarterback against Alabama in particular?
We say here all the time, the best rush is the best coverage, and we got to get to the quarterback. It's just nothing else about it. Last game, we did not do that, and I know a lot of people felt hurt after that one, and I hold myself and my room accountable, and also the D-line. That's our job as pass rushers, is to get after the quarterback, and we didn't do that. And so, the difference between this game and that game is we just have to do it. We have to find a way, and I believe in our coaches. I trust in the plan that we now talking over still to be able to do that.
All right. Our next question comes from Mark Schleybaugh. Mark?
Yeah, Nolan, you're a guy that grew up in the state of Georgia. What do you think it would mean for you guys to get it done in the 41-year drought?
I think it means everything. There's a lot of kids that's born and raised in the state of Georgia, and this is one that you'll never forget. And I always talk about leaving a legacy to my kids, but this is the ultimate, kind of like, a lot of people go to the programs just because of their father and everything. I want that to be my son's choice, but ultimately this is my goal and my dream, to be able to walk back here and, point at, son, this is what I did here. And, we're born and raised here. So why wouldn't we want to do that?
Next will be Heather Dinich. Heather?
Yep. Heading into the SEC championship, there are obviously many people who lauded your defense as historically good and then questioned that evaluation of it after the SEC championship game. What do you say to those critics who kind of doubted how good you guys were because of how Alabama played, and what needs to happen the next time around to cement this defense's place in history?
Obviously, one of the couple things is getting pressure on the queue and just being that relentless front that we always are. Every year inside the box, the front seven at Georgia has always been relentless, and we always do things right, and we always play the run, and it's a privilege to rush the passer. That's one of the things that we say here. Well, we just got to go do it this game. There's nothing else need to be said, and there's nothing need to be done other than trust the plan and go do it.
Next will be Connor Riley. Connor?
Hey, Nolan, but this being Dan Lanning's last game here, what has he meant to your development, and how has he helped the University of Georgia?
Oh, man. As far as helping the University of Georgia, man, it's crazy, and the things that he do, the scheme that he brought, and the philosophy that he kind of, brought into the SEC in Georgia, as far as, us slanting, us moving gaps, and just being relentless up front and doing a lot little with a lot more. We call it playing a couple gaps, two gapping and stuff like that. We still do all those same things that the old Bama used to do. If you know anything about football, they created the first generational defense, but we're just doing it a little different, I'll say. And we move gaps, and we try to have gap responsibility, and our backers know where everyone's supposed to fit. And it's a little orthodox, but it obviously is working, and I love it.
All right. Next will be Anthony Dasher. Anthony?
Hey, Nolan, good to see you today.
Good to see you too.
I know after, again, getting back to that first game, I know Coach Mark mentioned how that game humbled everyone. That was his word, and perhaps let everybody know that, maybe the team, defense, whatever, maybe not quite as good as everybody thought they would. what was practice like, knowing that, leading up to Michigan and now moving forward to Alabama next Monday night?
Yeah, you can only judge a man by what he does next and how hard he gets hit and gets back up. And I think we got hit pretty hard, and I thought we got up pretty well because guys didn't sweat it from day one. Guys said, we know we need to work. We know we have an opportunity of life. And now that we're here, in the national championship, I think we bounced back pretty well. Now it's time to go finish the job. That's all it is that need to be said and done. We need to go finish the job and, finish what we started.
Next, we'll hear from Mike Griffith. Mike?
Yeah, hey Nolan. Hey man, 7 quarterback hurries against Michigan. Really, since the Florida game, you've been on fire. How much of it did something click? Are you just seeing the game? Is it all slowed down because the second half of the season, you've really turned it up a notch? It appears.
I'd say the game slowed down, but also the plan, man. The plan that our coaches implement is just it. It's one thing that we can understand it, but it's another thing to execute the plan at a high level. A lot of guys go in day out and try to understand the plan, but can you execute the plan at a high level? And that's one thing that we talk about being here. And just be able to play fast and trust the plan and know what you're doing. It helps a lot. It helps a lot.
Next, we'll hear from Cody Chaffins. Cody?
Hey, Nolan, I wonder if you could take me back to your freshman year ECV, you and Nakobe and Trayvon, and what was that room like that you guys shared? Did you dream about moments that are coming up, and what makes you guys so tight?
Yeah, so we didn't all graduate early, and I know one thing that was Trayvon. So it was me, him, and Tresman, and we were so close. We almost did everything together. As far as all our classes was the same. That's when things weren't COVID freak out. You couldn't have so many people on the buses. We used to get on the bus and be packed like sardines riding the class, and we used to just almost do everything together, and it just built a connection just alone by itself. And then when we came in our junior year, Coach started doing those school sessions, and we started even talking to each other more, hanging out more, and doing things more, and it just built the connection even more. I still remember all 3 of my roommates, we drove to see one of Trayvon's basketball games in high school in Thompson. So I know that's one thing that we did our freshman year because, on the weekends, we was like, wow, we don't have mom and dad to tell us what to do. Most of the weekends we just laid in bed because we were so tired from workouts. But then after that, we just started doing things together, and it became really fun.
Next will be Lance McCurley. Lance?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You said a second ago about Alabama kind of laying the blueprint kind of for y'all's success, but just a little bit in a different way. How do you think that, this group right now that's on the field is laying the blueprint for some of these freshmen and sophomores and then the recruits coming in kind of moving forward?
I'd say the 100% thing that we're doing now, and as the leadership group, is showing them how to work. We say hard work works at Georgia, but, some kids just get here and think it's all hard, and they're just doing this for no reason. And there's a reason, it's a reason that we don't run gases after practice. It's a reason that we do 20s after, certain things that we do, and it's a reason to do that. And I think that, guys are starting to buy into that, and you see the effect, when a lot of guys buy into the strength team program, and we all say 1 + 1 = 3. When you have that mindset as guys, the most unselfish guys in the best defense ever, and we're all still unselfish, I think that's just the best thing ever. And that lays the blueprint by itself and just things on how it needs to be done.
Next will be Jake Rowe. Jake?
Nolan, I was wondering if you could take me back to kind of the end of the SEC championship game. And I know you guys have talked about it being a wake-up call and being humbled, but what was your emotion after that game? What were you feeling once the clock hit 4 zeros and that one was in the books?
You want to know the honest to God truth? I cried. I've been playing football. I'm 20 now. I've been playing football since I was 4. 16 years, I haven't won anything. I haven't won a championship. I won a couple bowl games, but anything big, any championship I never won yet. And that's one thing that keeps me going. That's just something in the back of my head that I know that keeps me driving. I just want to win. I could care less how it gets done, how pretty it looks. I just want to win and play ball.
Next will be Lane Higgins. Lane.
Hey there, Nolan. Obviously you weren't around on that 2017 to 2018 team that last played Alabama in the championship, but it seems like they've kind of been a thorn in Georgia's side. You know, maybe not one of the team's typical rivals, but one of circumstance in the last few years, and that you always end up playing Alabama in these big consequential games. Do you think that there's kind of a mental block, or do you think that there's kind of just this, I don't know, a different way of viewing Alabama compared to different opponents based on their history against you?
I said this when I was a freshman. I mean, every man wakes up and puts his pants on one leg at a time. There's no such thing as a mental block. The key word is in your head. That's mental. You got to go out and go do it. Get that out your head. I don't think it's a mental block. I think the first time we played them, we gave up a couple big plays. You change 3 plays in a game, and the whole game could be different. And one of those plays are on me myself. You know, I should have been more aware to jump on the ball instead of trying to pick it up and run. And I mean, just you can't have those small mistakes in those big games because it's a game of inches. And as we watch the film over and over again with our coaches' comments, we learn it's a game with just small inches.
Next will be Steve Hummer. Steve.
Yes, hi, Nolan. I don't know, for someone your age, 1980 may seem like the Middle Ages, but I don't know if how much do kids at that program hear about that team and that season, what it did, and is that any motivation at all to drive you to build that kind of legacy?
I mean, 100%. You know, to be the first since the drought, I think, you know, I tell people you'll be a Georgia legend. No matter if you're from the state of Georgia, outside the state of Georgia, you'll be a Georgia legend. And we came here to be legendary, be special, leave your mark. You know, like I always say, you know, I want to bring my kid back and tell him this is what I did. I want to leave my mark. I just don't want to be another University of Georgia player.
Next will be Andrea Adelson.
Hi, Nolan. As a follow-up to that, I'm wondering if you watched the national championship game between these two teams a few years ago as a Georgia kid and you know, top prospect, and if you did, where you were and what you remember about watching it.
Oh man, I remember the first time I watched the Rose Bowl, I was just sitting on my couch, just me and my mom. We had it on TV, and I was just watching it. I was like, if we block this kick, this could be crazy. And you know, I actually play football, so I know about, you know, blocking kicks at the end of the game. That stuff can really happen. And then when Lorenzo did it, I mean, outside linebacker, Wolfpack, I mean, I was absolutely jumping and screaming, and I was so excited. And then when Sony ran it in, I was just like, oh, that's a wrap. We'll see y'all in Atlanta. And for the Atlanta game, I stayed up there, and actually I didn't go because it was just too much for me. I don't like all those people and all that stuff. But I watched it, and I was tuned in from first quarter all the way to fourth quarter. And just the thing that I remember about that game is just the people, the atmosphere. Through the TV, you can feel it. Especially during this game, you can feel it too.
Next will be Ralph Russo. Ralph.
Good morning, Nolan. I wanted to ask you about coming to, now you're a Georgia guy, so I'm sure you had some ties to want to come to Georgia. You come to Georgia as a huge recruit. You know, you don't play a massive amount early on. I'm wondering how much benefit did you feel you would get from just being surrounded by so many good players? Like, I think so many players look for that early playing time, but that clearly wasn't you. How much benefit do you get from practicing with those guys and just being surrounded by so many good players, even though it might limit your playing time?
I mean, for number one to start is Aziz. I mean, Aziz, I feel like he took me under his wing, even though he wasn't saw as like a big guy when he came in. Aziz and Adam, they took me under their wing, and, you know, they showed me how to work, and they showed me, man, you just trust the process, man. You this and that. And I never thought about leaving because I knew this is what my mom wanted me to be. This is where I wanted to be. So I just came in and made the best of every day and tried to work and get better. I mean, I'm a Georgia boy. I love the state of Georgia. And as far as going anywhere else other than being here is, I don't know. I wouldn't think. But seeing those guys work and how they did things day in and day out, and being Georgia kids, it just helped me a lot, and it kept me centered. You know, to say guys still want to be here and guys still want to do this. And why should I think about leaving and be selfish? And that I just think that's selfish. You know, I mean, I understand guys leaving programs to, you know, go do bigger and better things and more playing time, but I mean, crazy now that guys are considering leaving programs just because of NIL deals. And that's just not about football. Football is a team sport. And I say it all the time, it's the ultimate team sport. You just got to sacrifice a lot. And I get that playing a lot, playing defense. I'm not an offensive player. You know, I don't want the ball in my hand a lot of times. I just want to do my job for my team.
Nolan, thank you very much. That concludes your session here. Appreciate your time today. We'll see you in Indianapolis.
Yes, sir. Y'all take care.
Joining us next will be linebacker Quay Walker.